It's time, once more, to act like I know what I'm doing. It's a lie. Clearly I don't, but there we go. Go through my standard notes, really, to start with. Yes, so I'm disabled. I might twitch. I might stutter. I might stammer. I might experience muscle spasms on stream, but I really hope I don't. My Twitch chat is over here, which is why I'm going to look that way a lot when I'm speaking. Sorry about that if it's distracting / annoying. And I do struggle to hold multiple trains of thought, so I will try to finish one before moving on to another. My name's Ryan or Comrade Bubbles, your choice, I don't care which. This is not an official thing. I am merely a fan that Onyx Path are kind enough to, let stream from their channel, give a platform to, etc. And before I get started properly, let's go over the usual link sharing. As ever, if you need to know what kind of state your favorite project is in terms of anticipated upcoming projects, when Kickstarters are running, general pipeline information, or Onyx Path news, I've just realized that the bracket behind the screen is a square bracket and a curly bracket. Gosh darn it. I apologize for that. I could change it now, but it won't be changed on the VOD, so I'll leave it as is. That is a mistake that we'll all have to live with. I am dying on the inside because of it, and I'm sure you are too. Anyway, the Monday meeting notes are the place to go for general updates about Kickstarters. If you follow that one, for example, you'll find out that Hunter the Vigil 2nd Edition, you heard that right, is coming to Kickstarter on Thursday, I think at 2 p.m. EST. I could check, but I'm not going to. As ever, you also get a plethora of pretty neat artwork. If you like looking at Onyx Path art, I generally do. It's usually pretty high quality. And kind of updates on project statuses, links to podcasts, interviews, actual plays. That will also always have the both the original text-based schedule, which I think is still the offline screen for the channel, as well as the brand new, extremely shiny graphic schedule. If you're not sure what's going on in the week, obviously this is a Tuesday show, so that is the Monday notes. So if you want to get an advance on the week, that's where you go. Also, of note, I think it's the latest release, in much the same vein as certain other large role-playing companies, really supplementary material to flesh out the fantasy worlds that you can play in. You can, right now, this very minute, I mean, you've been able to for a while, but right now, this very minute, go over to DriveThruRPG and pick up Yugman's Guide to Gelsbad Part 1. It's a comprehensive supplement to Scarred Lands, 5 EOGL compatible, and I think it's a copper bestseller already. I don't know how to check that information quickly. Suffice it to say, it's doing well. You'll notice that does say Part 1. It is being released bi-monthly, so that's 6 over the year, and then it will be compiled at the end of the year into a 1 volume. And I'll push those links as well at the end of the stream for people who come in late and I might not catch them. So, what are we doing? What is today? So clearly the show is behind the screen. I say my name is Ryan or Comrade Bubbles. I'm a fan. Those of you who have not been here before, this is as you can see, there, GM Tips content creation stream. I am no expert, but I have, a decade already of running games and writing adventures under my belt, mostly. So if you have any general GM tip questions, feel free to ask. I can only offer advice on certain Onyx Path games, having not played them all, because there are quite a few. And time and money are both, alas, factors of everyday life that must be contended with. I just had a horrifying suspicion I was muted for that entire preamble, but I'm not, thank God. But I will try to address questions as they come up. Specifically, this, I guess I'm going to start referring to them as seasons. This season 1 of Behind the Screen. As you can tell by the uneven brackets, is a Scion stream, and by the game category. I am writing a introductory adventure, not a quick start because there will be no rules included. It's an introductory adventure designed to introduce players to both Scion. Also, my nails are painted, so if they look weird, I haven't bruised them. They're painted. Designed to introduce players to Scion, the story path system, and to role-playing if that's something they've not done before. I do run a lot of introductory games, so I like to think I know what I'm doing mostly at the minute. So general idea is that you shouldn't have more than 3 scenes in mind, particularly if it's a one-shot. If it's longer or a one-session thing, if it's longer than a one-session thing, obviously as many scenes as you need. You can probably tell. You can see here that there's at least 4 scenes in this. I keep forgetting you can't see my show notes, which is, the point of show notes, but there we go. So you have a scene with low stakes to introduce dice rolling, a scene which I call freedom, where you can, where the players are free to explore, to get to grips with the game, to start understanding their characters, that kind of thing. And then an action scene, a climax to tie it all together. Now this works out pretty well with the 3-scene structure of Scion. Procedural, intrigue, and action adventure. So the low stakes scene in this scenario is the intrigue, quote unquote. It's got social stuff in it. Then the procedural is the freedom scene, and then the action scene is just tying it all together. Last time I've just got the. We started last time. We dealt with the interrogation scene. I don't anticipate it being a long scene in practicality, but it's an important scene because it's where some clues are dispersed and whatnot. And there's a follow-on from a public attack by what I've taken to calling inked gang members, who either you can see here many paths, who either are interwoven throughout these 6 scenes. There's one for each pre-generated character that will come with the adventure. If I can actually do that kind of thing on the Story Path Nexus, which is where this adventure will be released for pay what you want, with crediting to the community. And I'll link to the playlist of all of these episodes so that anyone who wants to can go back and see how it was created and the influences from chat and how I generally like to run these streams. That said, so who either crop up in each of these scenes or in the festival scene itself. Good morning, Mizari, and you're actually not at work. I hope that's because you're on vacation and not ill. Did I get the right word? I think I got the right word. Or that someone isn't ill. I am subscribed still. I have to keep checking. Now the contract ended. Ooh, that's kind of a bummer. Hopefully you have a new one lined up, or we'll get there soon. Yes. So the interrogation was where some clues came out about the source of the inked gang members. And then today, I don't know if we'll get through it all today because I'm going to be doing a lot of work here. But today we're going on to The Hunt, which is the more of the intrigue side of things, procedural side of things, finding clues. And because, put it bluntly, players derail any plan you make. It's just a fact of life as a story guide. I got it right first time. I didn't say GM. As a story guide, or GM if you prefer. When I write, kind of going forwards, when I write anything like this, I'm not going to have an exhaustive, the players go here, and they learn this if they go here, but if they, and then with an implied that if they don't go there, it's up to the story guide to, to come up with how the clue is found. So, with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a section for each clue, and it'll be kind of a... these are because I like working in threes. These are 3 potential ways that the players could follow up this clue, and what they can find as a result of that. Because I tried to write it so that most of these clues won't directly lead the band, although they aren't a band at this point, to the climax without any investigation. Person plan concepts, what would happen without players being there. Yeah, that's what I tend to do. It's just kind of like I know how that works because I'm used to doing it. It's how to express that in written terms that other people can understand if it's not second nature to them at this point. So hence kind of why a couple of suggested routes for finding information. But I might start it with, this is the clue that it will lead to. Here are some potential routes to get there. Because that's generally that's the concept path I use. So with that being said, I'm just going to copy these. These are the clues, right? Yeah, these are the 6 clues from like overhearing things. And these were the 6 clues from like quote unquote official sources. Okay, so let's do that. Let's get some line breaks going in here so I can actually see where the clues are. That one I'll leave so I don't forget that. Oh, there will also be design notes included in an appendix or in a sidebar wherever relevant. There we go. For people who like that kind of thing. Okay, so the hunt. Story guide eyes only. I don't know why I keep putting SGC. Interesting. I put that all the way through, haven't I? It's looking that way. Sure is looking that way. Yep. Why am I so stupid? Okay, right. Well, let's just get rid of that superfluous C all over the place. I will be trying to keep an eye on stream health and stuff, but as ever, I have my tablet by my side just so I can, monitor this if the stream's still up. Sorry, I nearly just broke the mug I use. Just moving it out of the way. Okay, so story guide eyes only. This scene of proceeding can happen in any order but intended to follow the gang attacks. The gang have made the local news and started threatening potential witnesses. The PCs may have heard something as the gang fled the festival, which can lead them to more information. Or they can overhear gossip on the street. / the news. This scene can lead into the interrogation. Okay. So let's see how to organize this. I think just saying clue, maybe. Yeah, that's more conceptual. So let's have clue. This is scene. This is heading 1. So if I have this as heading 3. Again, I cannot underestimate the importance of formatting for ease of kind of checking your notes kind of halfway through. Okay, so we'll just name this as pickpocketing clue. So then we'll have like summary of the clue, being first and Grand Metro stations have recently been the site of a spate of pickpocketing. And then explanation of the clue. This clue is a red herring. If the players investigate, they discover that a group of homeless children are using, let's call it the red line for now, travel the city and steal whatever they can. Their quote-unquote home base is situated in a storm drain connected to both First and Grand Metro stations. First, nailed it. I knew it was going to happen eventually. Oh, it's all falling apart. Stations. I guess storm drain is 2 words, huh? We don't really have them in the UK, so I have no idea. Stray animals clue. Okay. So there we go. In fact, I'll probably delete all of the associated information up here from the clues and just include it down here. Yeah, let's do that. So, however, the players could investigate this clue by, let's say, visiting the stations in question. It requires a capital D for difficulty. God, words. So many games in my head. All of them have a different word for a dice pool. Check, test, roll, etc. Gosh darn it. I think it's test. Could be wrong. Gosh darn it. Why do you all have a different word for it? Oh, there's the page I always need. Huh. Cool. Anyway. It's not helpful. I'm just going to say check, test even, and then go back through. Tutor lexicon assign gain turns as separate. I really, really do. Because I don't think there's a glossary in here for the system itself. I suppose the other way to do it is to go to the index, but the index isn't terribly good. I believe neither of the terms I was looking for were in the index. I really need to read that appendix at some point. I'm just going to say test anyway. You know, I could just OCR the heck out of this, right? Find. Turns out test is in this book a lot because of greatest and words like that. It's just one of those things where I don't want to use the wrong word. I want there to be parity between, the official challenges. Challenges. We call these situations challenges, and they all rely on a dice pool. Son of a bee. And then contest is opposed actions. I knew that. So it's a challenge if it's unopposed. Cool. Gotcha. But yeah, I just want parity. Challenge. I think I might have used test further up somewhere. I don't know. Succeeding at a, even. Succeeding at a difficulty 2 challenge. That's, yep. Style, yeah, actually, I will. I'll just do a notepad for now, but challenge, unopposed roll. Contest, opposed roll. TN8 for Mortal and for Origin and Hero. Thank you, Mazari, for prompting me to do that. To spot the pickpockets in action. Depending, that's a common one. Depending on the time of day. Crowd might levy a level 1 complication. It will. It'll mean less time me faffing around in documents. The best thing is I don't think I'm going to go straight into Hero after finishing this Origin one. I might go for a different game line between, just to, give myself a break, see what other people are interested in. Because I keep getting questions about Chronicles of Darkness and stuff, so I might do a COD adventure. Obviously, limited to what I can put up on Drive-Thru RPG as a community content thing. Not an OGL, something very different. The crowd might level 1 complication. There we go. Just tidy that up. So they could visiting the stations in question. COD work with Scion? Not really, because COD uses Storyteller system. Scion uses Storypath system. They're very similar, and like Scion First Edition used the Storyteller system, but they do have kind of crucial differences. So you do need to do some. If you want to use material from this in a COD game, you'd have to do some tinkering. But kind of that's why I was thinking I might do Chronicles of Darkness next, because it is the big line, apart from Vampire for Onyx Path. Some of the games do overlap. Yeah, so Trinity and Scion both use Storypath. Obviously, all the Chronicles of Darkness game lines use Storyteller. Actually, there is a great graphic that might be useful for people to see anyway. Oh, God, where did I see that graphic? Oh, where was it? I think it was here. Oh, hang on, I shared it. I can just go to my social media page. Just scroll down far enough. So, that's licenses, never mind. Ignore that. Ignore that. Thought it was systems. But there, and then obviously like Scarredlands uses D20 and things like that. But definitely some of the games do overlap, because there's no point reinventing the wheel, especially if you're producing a new edition of a game and you have a system that works. Why wouldn't you, use it? Visit the stations in question. Talk/manipulate their way into Getting hold of security camera feeds. Brackets, which may result in some level of attention from the law. How else would you get that kind of information? I think 2 is fine for this, actually. Because outside of going there or looking at something, you're not really going to get any... anywhere. Results of these investigations should give them at least one face. Just an actual face, llamas with hat style. Maybe not. Identifying information they can use to get a name. Or to get the name of a local homeless teen known to... I'll just put city bureaucracy, because it could be like housing department or police or benefits, whatever. Players should also have gain an indication. An indication of where the home base is through, let's say, wet footprints / trousers if the pickpocket is spotted, or a last known location. Yeah. To a storm drain entrance. Strom. There we go. It's the name of a dwarf character I have never played. I knew I was wrong, but there we go. So it's a red herring. Players investigate the score of the group permits and use a red line to travel the city wherever they can. That home base is situated in a storm drain connected by first and registrations. Players could investigate this clue by visiting the station in question. Request a 42 challenge to spot the pickpockets in action, depending on the time of day. The crowd might have a level 1 complication. Or talk and manipulate their way into getting hold of security camera feeds, which may result in some level of attention from the law. Although if you're playing with the pre-gens, one of them is a hacker, so maybe not. That might be a complication. The results of these investigations should give them at least identifying information they can use to get the name of a local homeless teen into the city bureaucracy. The players should also gain an indication of where the home base is through wet footprints, less trousers if the pickpocket seen, or a last known location near the storm drain entrance. The information contained here is left mostly conceptual to allow for the greatest flexibility and player choice. If feel overwhelmed by the open-ended nature of this of the scene, feel free to provide some guidance / limits for your players whilst retaining the sandbox aspect. There we go. Just a note for people who may not be as comfortable with this kind of thing as I am myself. Okay, so I was just checking the live notifications got sent properly. They did. Cool. Okay, so that's that. Story animal clue. Anderson's Vets on 7th has had an influx of strays with electrical burns. If the PCs follow this up however they choose to do so, the veterinary practice will tell them the animals were rescued from the failed Acorn Grove Industrial Redevelopment Area. I don't think really much needs to be added here. Could be, for example, visiting the vet, visiting the practice, and then because you shouldn't really double bracket. So if you do, you should always use a different kind of bracket as just an ease of readability, whether in person or via electronic communication. I was about to write phone call, but who the heck uses phone calls anymore? For example, visiting the practice, whether in person or via electronic communication. Or talking to people who have donated is the wrong word. Informed the practice about the strays. Whose names may be local blogs on the practice website. 0, comma, or in local newspapers. So there we go. That will just tell them to go to the industrial area. As ever, obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's a bit late. But if you're watching this live, or on the video on demand, the VOD, whichever you prefer, if you can think of a suggestion, please do feel free to make it. Close bracket. Quick note on VODs and YouTube and stuff. I'll say it again at the end, but while I have brushed it up now. This video has a week's exclusivity on Twitch for the for Twitch subscribers to the channel, and then it'll go up on my own personal YouTube channel in a playlist with the rest of the behind the screen videos. In theory, next Tuesday. Usually varies between Tuesday and Friday, depending on when I remember / have the time to do so. Just as a heads up about that. Okay, so power shortage clue. Chestnut Grove has been experiencing brownouts. Sucks to live in Chestnut Grove. If the PCs investigate this, they can find out that Chestnut Grove and Acorn Grove share a power grid. Depending on how they investigate and how successful they are, they might also find out that several buildings in Acorn Grove are drawing more power than they should. Right, so let's go with the PCs may choose to investigate by visiting the local area. You know what? Let's have a list. Let's have a list for this one. There's an ordered list. There is. Let's just have bullet points. Visiting the local area. You know what? Let's specify Chestnut Grove. If they do this, a brownout occurs whilst they are present, and they are witness to that's a weird way of phrasing it. They see lights flickering in an office building clearly marked as being in Acorn Grove. Again, kind of, let's just call it local media. Oh, nope. Local media, so like blogs, newspapers, radio, etc. If they do this, they can discover that brownouts are not unique is the word I was looking for. To Chestnut Grove. Congrove is also experiencing them. Let's have all of this as suggested. So a brownout could occur. They can discover. Congrove is also experiencing them. Could also discover that these brownouts have been going on for 2 weeks. Which ties in with the start of... Oh, what was the renovating company called? Ashford Renewables. There we go. Rebuilding project. Let's just say renovations to existing hydroelectric. Resources. I've said it before, I say it again, but I appreciate this is not the most gripping of things to watch, but it is the warts and all version of content creation for role-playing games, so it involves a lot of writing. It's not all just throwing out ideas and seeing what sticks. It's committing those ideas to paper or text document in this case. So how else would you check that kind of thing to reveal that they share a power grid? Oh, I guess they could just try like a general knowledge thing. Let's see. Where's my thing? Oh. I can also probably delete that sentence after I'm done here. It would probably be a mental, probably intellect. Yeah, let's go with that. Find the process interesting. My experience with like path games is limited. Alas, so is mine. But I wanted to do behind the curtain, to use the Wizard of Oz reference, hence the show name, kind of approach to it, just to show the people that anyone can do this kind of thing. You don't have to have special knowledge of anything. Knowing the rules will come with time. All you need to really know is what story you want to tell, and then how to best do that within the game. Which this was intended to resource as. Obviously, there's loads of stuff on Reddit and various websites, my own included, about writing and material. I do need to update that. Anyway, it's just I know that not everyone likes to sit and watch people write. It's very niche. It's not even just chatting, really. Make it attempting and yes, intellect. Based challenge to recall information about the area. If they do this, they can... Let's have a difficulty associated with this. Let's go with difficulty 3. Quick reminder how the game works. You roll pooled 10-sided dice. Target number is 8 at origin level. So you've got roughly a 1 in 3 chance of succeeding. So difficulty 3 is pretty difficult. So I might lower it to 2, actually, and then have a complication for extra information. Let's go with that. Attempting a difficulty 2 intellect-based challenge. Draw information area. If they do this, they can discover that chestnut and acorn, both chestnut and acorn grove. Also, please don't expect a map of the city with this document. I don't have one. I make things up as I need them. Both chestnut and acorn grove used to be a single district called the Grove. If a level 1 difficulty is paid off, they may also discover let's just say that Ashford Renewables supplies hydroelectric energy for many buildings in the area. Which could then lead the players into researching Ashford to discover what buildings they do, yada, yada, yada. But this is all conceptual, bare bones. Not really bare bones, but essential information, basically. It's the stuff that players will need to complete. Story guides should feel free to elaborate upon, alter, whatever. I'll probably have that as like an introduction. Just because everyone writes adventures in a different way. They may discover that Ashford Renewables supplies hydroelectric energy for many buildings in the area. There was a thing. Was it degrees of success? I think it was degrees of success. Not scale, field stunts. Yeah, degree of success. A degree of success of 2 or more gives the players the information let's just straight up tell them. A degree of success of 2 or more allows the players to, because I just feel like not enough is done with degrees of success, to discover that, let's have this as being where too much power is being drawn. The Morrison Freight Yard. I knew I'd got that the wrong way around. Gosh darn it. The Morrison Freight Yard. Birkin's Fine Food. And Our Lady of the Merciful Night Hospital are all drawing more power than they should from the grid. From the power grid. I can also delete that. There we go. Now, question, and I'm leaning towards yes. I mean, it's a group challenge. I'm definitely leaning towards yes. It's not a mixed action. Teamwork. Here we go. It's not a complex action. teamwork elsewhere in here? Probably, right? That would make sense. I made the mistake of forgetting that I'm looking at a role-playing game rulebook. Why would anything make sense? It's a great hobby, this hobby of ours, but rulebooks are still in need of perfecting. Okay, well let's treat it as, maybe it's under intrigue. Procedural, not intrigue. Procedurals, information gathering, finding clues, clues and stunts, planning and enhancements, complex investigations. Nope, nope, nope. And that's intrigue, which is the social stuff. Although I will put a note up here that this as this scene is procedural in nature, please feel free to allow the procedural stunts from the rulebook. Sign origin. There we go. Because again, I don't want people to need another book to run this, so I'll just specify sign origin and move on. Okay, so this could be. Let's have an alternatively. Just to make it a complex action if needed. Alternatively, if the story guide or players prefer to handle this as a complex action, where did the table of required successes go? Enhancements, nope. Nope. I've gone too far. Oh no! Not far enough, maybe? God damn it. There we go. Hang on one sec. Sorry about that. I do apologize. So, if story guide players would prefer to handle this as a complex action, each interval takes, let's say, 2 hours. The action, that's in no way, shape, or form how you spell the word action. Even I know that, and I'm an idiot. Requires 2 milestones. Because I do know that some player parties just prefer to roll dice and move on. So each interval takes 2 hours and has a base difficulty of 2. Action requires 2 milestones. I think I can probably leave it there. I can probably just leave it at that, just to give it some time scale rather than having one player roll The action requires milestones and any mental attribute can be used. Because this is more just a research thing rather than a go out and find and talk to people. Find something out or go and talk to people situation. Okay, so that's that. I think I'm good with what I've got there. Visiting Chestnut Grove. Brownout could occur. So present, the city lights flickering in an office building clear marked as being an acorn grove. Checking local media, if they can discover the brownouts are not unique to Chestnut Grove. Acorn Grove is also experiencing them. They could also discover these brownouts have been going on for 2 weeks, which ties in with the start of Ashford Renewables renovation to existing hydroelectric resources. And obviously there will be dice. There should be dice rolls associated with any of these things, potentially if there's a risk of failure anyway. Or then just the attempt difficulty 2 intellect-based challenge to recall information about the area. If they do this, they can discover both Chestnut and Acorn Grove used to be a single district called the Grove. If level 1 difficulty is paid off, they may also discover that Ashford Renewables supplies hydroelectric energy for many buildings in the area. Degree of success of 2 or more allows the players to discover that the Morrison Freight Yard, Birkin's Fine Food, and Our Lady of the Merciful Night Hospital are all drawing more power than they should from the power grid. Or you can do that as a complex action. Each interval takes 2 hours and has a base difficulty of 2. The action requires 2 milestones and any mental attribute can be used. Let's have that as a separate sentence, but not a discrete bullet point. Guess here also would be worth pointing out, even though many of the suggestions below do not include specific information regarding challenges / complex actions / contests. The SG should... Oh, I mean, this is story guide eyes only. You should... Call for dice rolls. As usual. Call for dice rolls where appropriate. There we go. Okay, I'm happy with that. So that's those 3. So if I go up here and remove these, actually, throw this out to chat. Obviously, if you're running an adventure, it's a good idea to have read the adventure through fully, so you know roughly where it's going, what information is important, that kind of thing. Do you think it would be useful to have the relevant information as like a slight, like the first follow-up step of information available in this chapter as like a summary, or the person discussing it may know more than they're prepared to say first? Or just delete it entirely and rely on the story guide reading the next scene description to find out more about each thing. And while you're mulling that over, I'm going to have a drink. I think I have to have it there, or need to flip back for the rely on memory. Fine, I'll leave it there then. Obviously, when I... sorry, that came out as really abrupt. You raised a good point, Mazari. Thank you for the input. I do want to limit having to flip backwards and forwards through the book. So when I tidy all this up, I might remove some of it, but just but still have like a core summary of like where this is going kind of situation. Or I might not, you know, depending. Okay. Thank you for the input. I appreciate it. This is obviously a community-led stream. Oh, there's... That was missing. Why? What? Interesting. Power shortage clue. Gang attacks. There we go. Sipping after grab refill and coffee. Sure thing. Why are you a different heading? Weird. What? Google Docs is breaking. Stop the presses. This has never happened before. It is entirely unprecedented. So what's going on up here? That's bizarre. I don't like it. Just delete that. Do that. If I set this to normal, does it still break it? Sure does. Does anyone have any experience with Google Docs know what the frell is going on? That was odd. Also, these are all indented, I guess, now. If I do that... oh, yeah, they're probably all indented because of the this, actually. Right. These are indented. Just do that. They don't actually need to be indented, I suppose. Oh, wait, that's what's happening. That's what's breaking it. Oh, that's annoying. There we go. Rather than using tab, use the actual indent. Gang attacks around the city. If the PCs investigate... comma. They can find out that there has been an increase. Also, you know, not to toot my own horn, but because of the microphone in front of my face, I do have to touch type, which is why the error is slipping through. On the other hand, you know, I can touch type, so there's that at least. There has been an increase in criminal activity throughout the city. Else there is no directly related information. No information here that is directly. Let's have it as a clause, which is directly related to the adventure. PCs may uncover names of the largest gangs. Let's have a list of gang names, shall we? Let's go with 13th. I just had a brain blank about how to spell the word 13th. 13th Street Pyros. Halo Breakers. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty generic, right? And then I just need to check something. Where's the... There it is. Which is related to where I'm going with this eventually. Within the... Sorry, in the hero adventure. Okay, so these are in theory public domain. Interesting. Nope, no. Do any of these make sense? Sorry, I'm just scanning a list of names. That's all I'm doing. There we go. It's a bit on the nose. Oh, mastermind, I guess. Hmm. 13th Street Pyros, Halo Breakers, Harlequins, and the Demon Bobbers. Oh gosh, it's done it below. I've just noticed it's messed up again. Yep. Because that should be the thing. River Murder Clue. Why is that? There we go. Why is it going to heading 4? That makes no sense. Also, there's no information here which is related to the adventure of the PCs. I don't think this needs to be a clause, actually. I mean, this is all stuff I'll be doing when I go through it and tidy it up anyway, but there we go. That is directly related to the adventure of the PCs may cover the names of the largest gangs, 13th Street Pirates, Halo Breakers, Harlequins, and the Demon Bobbers. The latest flare-up of attacks seems to be centered around the university and the police are blaming the Demon Bobbers. Ooh. Yeah, that's not how you spell that word. That's still not how you spell that word. There we go. One meaningless internet point to anyone who can figure out where I'm going with the pantheon I'm going to be making for the Scion Hero document adventure thingy bob. That seems like easy enough information to find. Okay. Grab a sip of water and continue onwards. We're in just over an hour and about halfway through. So looks like we might maybe finish this today, and if not, we'll definitely finish this next stream. You know, I'll keep that web page open actually. Okay, so river murder clue. Another bizarre murder along the river. If the PCs investigate, well, this needs to be a new thing. If the PCs investigate, they can find out the Trogo's cold at a commercial marina 5 minutes walk from the murder site where a number of rowboats have been stolen. Depending on how they investigate and how successful they are, they might also find out that the last boat had to be stolen had a GPS tracker attached to it, which was broken shortly after the theft, but indicated the thief was moving towards the city. It is up to the story guy's discretion if the fact that the river leads to the Morrison freight yard is pointed out. Okay, so I guess we'll just go with this again. Have a list of potential ways and then go from there. Nope. There we go. So how would you investigate this? Visit the murder site. As if they do this? Yes. If they do this, they can discover that over here from, let's say, rubberneckers standing at the police tape. Police tap. Standing at the police tape. That the body was found with its head twisted 180 degrees and its throat slashed. Throw. Which is a pretty weird way of murdering someone. That's really it, I guess. Police on duty will refuse to answer any questions with meaningful answers. I'll just put sufficient leverage because that kind of covers a variety of knacks. Yes, knacks. Is applied, in which case they will confirm this story. Confirm this story and add the detail that the victim's apostrophe eyes were full of ink, which is pretty creepy and icky if you ask me. So that's what they do if they visit the murder site. If they visit the marina, oh, hang on, they need to know about the marina. Oh, they know there's been a murder along the river. Let's see. As well as that the local marina has had a few boats stolen recently. There we go. Let's, slide that in there. How else would you do it? I guess watching the news item / reading about it. They do this, you can discover that 4 other bodies have been found near the river in an identical manner. We'll say reporter, but whatever really. Reporter remarks that police are beginning to view the recent boat thefts from the marina as linked. There we go. I think really that's the only way that a non-police officer character would be able to investigate this kind of thing, because they're not really going to get encrypted sensitive information from the police themselves. So just trying to think of anything else. No, not really. Okay, so that's that. Don't really need that line anymore. Let's assume they go to the marina then. By visiting the marina. If they do this, they may discover they may find a police officer asking questions of a boat owner who has reported the theft of their boat, of their GPS tagged boat. PCs question the police officer. They are dismissed and warned not to interfere. If the PCs question the boat owner, and let's just say sufficient social, not combat. Maneuvering is the wrong word. Graces is the wrong word. You know what? Let's just say gain his trust. And gain his trust. Can learn that the boat was heading downstream before the GPS unit was destroyed. Tracker was destroyed. Kaboom. That's not how you spell that word. I got so caught up on being entertaining, which, it's not going to happen, that I misspelled a word. Okay. So that's kind of, that's that. I'm happy with where that's at. Okay. This is just Ashford Renewables. Man, I really hope these bookmarks carry this headings and stuff carry over into Microsoft Word. Ashford Renewables clue. Pledges to upgrade existing hydroelectric equipment spread throughout the city. Right, I hyphenated hydroelectric up here, and I really didn't need to. There it is. There we go. If the PCs investigate this, you know what? That's no. Let's say no matter how the PCs investigate this, they gain a partial list of properties with old Ashford Renewables hydro electric equipment. The list includes... Where were those? Where were those buildings? There we go. The Morrison. Let's have Morrison, Fields, and Green Freight Yards. It's like 3 kind of industrial places. Birkin's Fine Food. Cosmo Stop and Go, why not? Pavilion Theatre. How did I spell Anderson up here? Let's have the vets just be mentioned. Where am I? There we are. Anderson's Vets and Our Lady of the Merciful Night Hospital. Among others. Most of the properties on the list are in Chestnut or Acorn Grove. So 2 clues which directly point to the freight yard. This is if the players kind of inquire about any locations along the river, points to the freight yard. This is more a background clue. That's I'm pointing to the freight yard, but also directing them towards the area to investigate. Well, if they do this, they may also run afoul of the Demon Barbers. This is the first time they've been mentioned, so a local gang whose signature is a straight razor tattooed on the throat. There we go. I assume everyone knows what I mean by straight razor. Speak now if you don't. That's a red herring. That just points them to Acorn Grove. I'm looking for kind of like loose electronic stuff. What else? I was going to say something. I was going to make a point, and I can't remember what it was. It was kind of one of the things where it flashed into my mind, and then it was completely flashed out again. What was it? That was it. Well, it wasn't, but I thought of a backup point. So I have been careful that not every clue is like directly related. Some of the obviously I've got the red herring just because life goes on around you, but they're all designed to kind of guide, not tell player characters where to go. So they've still got there's still a risk of misinterpretation of not kind of giving everything to them, making them put the pieces together themselves. So hence why a lot of them say it's in this area, but then based on the other clues they find, they have to kind of narrow it down to the freight yard, which is in that specific area. That's the idea behind this anyway. Whether or not it actually works that way in practice, who knows. If you end up running this, please tell me how you get on with it. Okay, so it's very, very simple. The PCs investigate this, however they choose. Oh, you know what? Let's just use the same wording. No matter how the PCs investigate this, they discover that timber carrying tongs are usually used for carrying sleepers. I'm going to put railway because I'm British English, but railroad, sleepers, and other large pieces of timber. Another officer will stick their head into the interview room and say, Mrs. Rothman rang and said she forgot to mention one of the gang members who attacked the grill next to her was wearing Grant Green Enterprises patch on their jacket earlier. Officer Stein thanks the officer, makes no they leave. Oh, I don't really need that one. Again, there's no real challenge here. Grant Green Enterprises are going to be a pretty big-ish. Oh, also welcome back. Going to be a pretty big-ish organization. So it doesn't matter how they investigate. No matter how the PCs investigate this, they discover that Grant Green Enterprises, they were the other hydroelectric company, right? Yes. Supply and maintain hydroelectric equipment at various industrial and commercial sites throughout the city, which hopefully will make them start thinking about focusing on industrial and commercial sites within Acorn Grove. Officer Stein checked something written earlier in the day, which removes her notebook slightly, reveals a business card and an evidence wallet. The business card is for Smythe's Industrial and Commercial Holdings. A dark, smudged fingerprint can be seen. Again, no matter how the PCs investigate this, they can discover a contact address. I'm just going to copy paste this. I can't bother to type it out properly. Probably saves no time, but it's just easier on me. Cursors for Smythe's Commercial and Industrial Holdings. It may follow this up with a meeting / communication. If sufficient social leverage is applied / they gain the trust of, let's just name this person Simon Kirst. An employee. There we go. Nope. Need a space. Apply to / to gain the trust of Simon Kirst, an employee. They may discover a list of, let's say, companies currently being managed by Smythe's Industrial and Commercial Holdings. This list includes. Where did that list go? Up here? words. That probably wouldn't be there. Neither would that or those. Let's make up some businesses. Morrison's Field and Green Freight Yards. Sure. I was going to put Thorn, but Throne Self-Storage. Harbour Transport. The Big Yellow Bug Restaurant. Why not, really? Now I want to go to a restaurant called the Big Yellow Bug. Curses. And Market Forces Business Analytics. Among others. Also includes a few business parks. I'll say business/industrial parks. Cool. So those... Oh, right, I need to name these clues for the title purposes. Timber tongs, which is just a great phrase to say. Grant Green Enterprises. Nope. I guess I'll type this out. Just because I don't trust Google Docs to not ruin the the heading stuff. Industrial and Commercial Holdings. There we go. Those titles are all sorted properly. So, quick recap of the clues then, before going on to the final scene. Google Docs is horrible for that once you get into formatting. Yeah, it's pretty bare bones. But unfortunately, it's just the easiest way I can kind of capture what I'm working on. Because I think maybe I could use Word now, but it would just be a bit awkward. So Google Docs it is. Also, I haven't tried the Word thing, so I don't want to make promises that I can't actually keep. Yeah, MS Word is, unless you kind of like, I do a lot of working Word with formatting and stuff, so I know how to do it. It's just knowing the workarounds and whatnot. Anyway, so scene 3, the hunt. Story guide eyes only. The scene of the one preceding it can happen in any order, but are intended to follow the gang attacks. The gang have made the local news and have started threatening potential witnesses. The PCs may have heard something as the gang fled the festival, which can lead them to more information, or they can overhear gossip on the street/the news. This scene can lead into an interrogation. As the scene is procedural in nature, please feel free to allow the procedural stunts from the Scion origin. If this is the case, let's say ignore most clues that PCs have already picked up on. Repeat any you deem worthy of conversation. This scene is procedural in nature. Please refer to procedural stunts from Scion origin, even though many of the suggestions below do not include specific information. This is just a kind of a quick note about working in Docs and Microsoft Word. If you convert a Google Doc into a Microsoft document, it breaks everything, so don't do it. Even though many of the suggestions below do not include specific information regarding challenges, complex actions, contests, you should call for dice rolls where appropriate. Information contained here is left mostly conceptual to allow the greatest flexibility in player choice. If you feel overwhelmed by the open-ended nature of the scene, feel free to provide some guidance or limits for your players while retaining the sandbox aspect. Yeah, to kind of double down on that. So, for example, I do proofreading occasionally for Chinese students applying for university outside of China. And sometimes it'll be written in Google Docs, then converted into a Word document. It throws up a horrendous font, which you can't change. And also, for some reason, even though the words remain the same, it triples the word count. It's odd and horrible. And my partner has numerous horror stories about, because she works in PowerPoint a lot, working with people who use Google Slides and converting slides into .ppt and all of that. So if you're going to use Google Docs or Microsoft Word, don't expect you can transfer the documents between each other without just copy pasting what you need. It is weird. I don't know why. I guess it's just the way they code it. So, pickpocketing clue. First and Grand Metro stations have recently been the site of a space pickpocketing. It's a red herring. Players investigate. They just find a side story about a group of homeless kids in a storm drain. Can I delete that? I can. Okay. Stranwell, Anson's Vets on 7th has had an influx of straight electrical burns that will just lead to them discovering the animals were rescued from the failed Acorn Grove Industrial Redevelopment Area. Chestnut Grove's been experiencing brownouts, which will, in theory, lead them to discover that they share a power grid. So the problem may not be in Chestnut Grove at all. A brownout could occur whilst present, and the sea lights flickering in an office building clearly marks to be an Acorn office. They may also run afoul of the Demon Barbers, a local gang. Checking local media reveals that the brownouts are happening in Acorn Grove also, and that they started 2 weeks ago when Ashford Renewables started renovating their stuff. Sorry, I got woozy for a second. They may also discover there used to be a single district called the Grove. Level 1 difficulty. Ashford Renewables supplied hydroelectric energy for many buildings in the area, and a degree of success or 2 or more allows them to discover that a couple of places drawing more power than they should from the power grid, with guidance given to treat it as a complex action if preferred. Gang attacks, it just gives you a list of gangs and kind of the locale of that happening, which is entirely unrelated. River murder clue, they could visit the murder site where they discover the particulars of the murder, watching news items or reading local media, 4 other bodies, and boat thefts from the marinas are potentially linked. Go to the marina, they find that there was a GPS boat that was going downstream before the GPS tracker was destroyed. If they then ask if there's any points of interest downstream, let's say it leads to a couple of places, including the Morrison Freight Yard. You know what, let's include all of these freight yards. Including the Morrison's Fields and Green Freight Yards. Let's have Aquasulis. Rest Eatery. There we go. What else would you have on a river? Let's have Garden Centre, Aquasulis Eatery, Green Thumbs Nursery, Plant Nursery. That's about Garden Centre. I don't know if that's a less of a thing elsewhere, but I like garden centres. Green Thumbs Garden Centre, and I guess some actual commercial docks. Cities commercial docks. There we go. It's pointed out. Ashford Renewables, about them replacing stuff, upgrading stuff. Again, partial list of properties with the Old Ashford Renewables hydroelectric equipment. That kind of thing will probably be public knowledge. Most of the properties on this are in Chestnut or Acorn Grove, or around the university. In response to the timber carrying tongs, I mean, obviously I'll reword all of this stuff anyway, but this is just for sake of getting stuff down. No matter how they investigate, they discover timber carrying tongs are usually used for carrying railway sleepers and other large piece of timber. So then they need to look for that kind of activity. Grant Green Enterprises supply and maintain hydroelectric equipment to various industrial and commercial sites throughout the city. And then Smythes gives them a list of places that Smythes manage. Okay, so that's that. We've done scene 3, the hunt. Scene 4, the clash. We won't be finishing today, and actually I keep forgetting to do an extra heading for visitations, which I'll probably include as an appendix. There we go. This stuff, the antagonists and story guide characters, I will also include as an appendix, but for now, I want to include visitations with the rest of this for ease of clicking backwards and forwards through the document and whatnot. So, scene 4, the clash. Tidied this up a little bit, so SGIs only. Demon Barbers are an arm of a larger gang based in the Morrison Freight Yard. It is this gang. Now I need to name it. Oh, Children of Truth. Cult. Specifically, Titan cult. Based in the Morrison Freight Yard. It is this cult. Children of Truth. The Children of Truth, sorry. That attacked during the introductory scenes / the festival. A few of its more senior members are present in the freight yard. I don't know why I keep misspelling freight. It's, I guess, just something I can't get my head around on stream. To oversee operations. This doesn't need capitalizing because it's not a pronoun at this point. That's better. Right, chat. Do I own a cookie? It's about 5 to 10 years old and starting to show its age. Situated 15 minutes drive from the city. Central Acorn Grove. It is an area. It is in an area of stalled redevelopment. Minutes. Precious. Terminus of 2 freight rail lines and 1 river. There's some near obsolete hydroelectric equipment powering a large. Do that. And that. Freight yard is a sprawling complex of discarded equipment. Barely functional. I guess industrial tools. And decaying buildings. There are a few regular guard patrols and a variety of industrial warehouses and workshops, as well as a small office building. Site maintenance is provided by Schuster and Sons. And security is provided by Cerberus Systems and personnel. Both companies are contracted by, I'm just going to copy it if I can find it. There we go. Both contracted by Smythe Industrial and Commercial Holdings. But the on-site employees know not to get involved with the Demon Barbers when they are at home. Hydroelectric equipment is provided by... The hydroelectric equipment is provided by both Ashworth Renewables and Grant Green Enterprises, with the latter being in better repair. Design note: areas of redevelopment typically have a feeling of forlorn hopefulness. The inhabitants are proud of what they have, but know the plows that we were going to give them more before the money ran out. I guess when describing locals, bear in mind that. So that's kind of a design note, right? So the PCs should be able to make to find their way here. That's not how you spell weather. Nope. Nope. Intentionally or by accident. PCs should be able to find their way here, whether intentionally or by accident. If they are specifically looking for hydroelectric equipment or the cause of the power shortages, they can follow the suspended power lines to a large abandoned looking warehouse, because you should always, it's a pulp thing, you should always have a fight in a warehouse. To a large abandoned looking warehouse. If they are not looking specifically for this, they may run into either maintenance workers, security, or the gang's guards. Because I'm trying to figure out if it's worth just kind of getting the overview of the scene done now, and then leaving it at that, or starting to define zones and things, but fields. I think I'm just going to end at the overview, and then that means that next time it's all about the fields and whatnot. That's also the wrong there, I realise in hindsight. Security or the gang's guards. Homa are willing to let the PCs move freely around. Let's say for a price. Whether financial or through gaining the SGC's trust. But the gang will give 1 warning before attacking. If this happens, gang guards will summon reinforcements. From the warehouse, and the PCs can see where they come from. So, you know, I should probably give numbers for these. In the form of 4, I guess I just called them inked gang members, right? Yeah. Whoops, space. Jeez. Where's the best to put this? Roaming the freight yard. Yep. Spelled it wrong again. As a team of 2 inked gang members. Nope. If the gate guards have some reinforcements on their first, I think it's turn in an action scene. Yep. Turn in the initiative roster as their action. Maybe it's worth specifying simple action. Yeah. As a simple action. Just because it has, you know, gameplay related mechanics to it. Specify gang guards there. Okay, so that's all that. What time is it? Fudge, I've still got a bit of time left. I don't want to waste it. Because it's... I guess we could start defining, like, just labeling the fields. So let's see. I got it right that time. It is split into several fields. Capital, because that's what they are. Let's say the rail terminus, the docks, general buildings, outside the gang warehouse, I don't know why I'm capitalizing. Inside the gang warehouse, ground. Inside the gang warehouse, upper. Now, I'm not saying that when it comes to streaming next time, all of these will have field qualities and effects and whatnot, but it's useful to have them kind of in mind. Just up here, the gang guards who may be encountered in any field apart from those directly mentioning the warehouse. Okay, leave it to the story guide to decide where the patrol is met. So we've got a list of fields, description of the freight yard, which I probably include some box text for. Sure, why not? Let's do that now. I think I've been using double speech marks. Yes, I have. The yard is a complex of rusting buildings, cracked concrete, and pervasive weeds. Thick rain clouds overhead mirror the grey atmosphere of the area. Here and there, signs of artisans' workshops, or badges on the patrolling fouards. What even is a fouard? Badges on the patrolling guards provide a splash of colour in an otherwise monochrome vista. I think that's it. I think I'm happy to end it there. So next stream, which will be the 18th of February, we'll pick back up. We'll define some field effects, and we might even get the visitations done. So next time, maybe the end of this season of Behind the Screen. The stream after that, the 3rd of March, probably almost definitely will be. So the end is coming. The end is nigh, folks. But I'll be back for season 2. So it's melodrama for the sake of melodrama, really. Which melodrama is amazing. So there we go. So kind of general things. Thanks to Mazzara and everyone who's watching. The stream is a community-based thing. I can't do it without. Well, I could do it without you, but I enjoy having input and demonstrating the workings, the thought processes, that kind of thing behind writing adventures for tabletop role-playing. With the caveat that because this is aimed at release on the Storypath Nexus. Actually, that's a good point. Silicon Bot hasn't been botting with its links. Interesting. It's going to be a lot, not a lot more, but different. It's going to be more linear and constricted than what I would ordinarily do. Ordinarily, I wouldn't go into this much detail. I'd have it a lot more open-ended and far more, and even more conceptual or kind of story beaty. But if you know anyone who might like this kind of show, please do, of course, feel free to share it with them. All of the videos go up on YouTube a week after being streamed live to allow for subs to the Twitch channel to have their week's exclusivity. Just search Comrade Bubbles on YouTube, and then it's Behind the Screen Season 2, brackets Onyx Path, I believe. Season 1 was a D&D thing. yeah, so that's that. If you ever kind of want to know what's going on in the world of Onyx Path, the Monday meeting notes all the way forwards, they have all of the juicy information about upcoming Kickstarters and stuff like that. So, for example, if you go to this week's Monday meeting notes, you can read all about the upcoming Hunt of the Vigil 2nd Edition Kickstarter, which is the last of the first edition New World of Darkness game lines that needs to be updated to Chronicles of Darkness. That's on Thursday, I think at 2 p.m. EST, but I can't bother to check. But the Monday meeting notes are always the place to go for updates regarding project development. Oh, sorry, Time Roller. That is a sweet raid emote, though. Regarding project development and that kind of thing. Podcasts, news, everything else. Also, while Nightbot is there, the Discord is a great place to talk about various game lines and looking for group stuff. And something else to be aware of is that sorry, after 2 hours, my brain just goes completely. Following the wake of, I believe it was Exalted monthly releases, part 1 of Yugman's Guide to Gelsbad is available on the Drive-Thru RPG. It is a supplement sourcebooky thing for Scarred Lands. It's going to be bi-monthly, so 6 volumes, and at the end of this year it'll be compiled into one book. Totally go and check it out. I believe it's a copper bestseller right now, but it could be better. But if you have an interest in Scarred Lands, which is a 5e OGL compatible game, check it out. It's been described as Grimbright. Definitely worth it. That is also obviously an Onyx Path product. My next stream, as I've said, will be on this channel on the 18th, where we probably won't finish it, but we'll get real close to finishing. And then, as I've got to decide what to do after that. I am available on Twitch or Twitter as @ComradeBubbles. If you have any questions or about GM tips, about Onyx Path games in general, or if you just want to chat about role-playing games, I do stream video gamey stuff Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Obviously, alternate Tuesdays I'm here, so I don't, because there's no time. But I'm always around, happy to talk about tabletop role-playing things, if you're interested in that. And I believe that's all I have to promote right now. So let me just check the schedule, although I'm reasonably sure I know what's coming up later today. Where did my thing go? There we go. Pre-roll. On the past schedule. Yes, at 7 p.m. EST. According to the schedule, at least, there is a Pugmire Paws and Claws game. Pugmire is another 5th edition OGL game where you play as dogs uplifted to human levels of intelligence, trying to discover just what it means to be a good dog in a world without man. It's really cool. Paws and Claws are pretty cool. Go check it out. And I think that's it. I will be around in chat for like 5 or so minutes while the post roll happens, where you've got all the branding for the other shows on the channel as well as the schedules to answer any lingering questions. But if you don't have any, obviously I'm just happy to chat. But if you want to go, that's fine also. So I'll be back in 2 weeks. But don't forget that I'm not the only thing on this channel, as difficult as that may be to believe. Anyway, thank you all for being here. Thank you for the raid, Time Roller. I apologize that it was just poorly timed. Well, I was poorly timed. And I'll see you all around. Have a good one.